introducing to you my latest friend, who I met a few months ago, but then I've been interacting with her over the last couple of weeks. She has amazing energy. She is very humble and tireless and an inspiration, that word again. She is Dr. Susan Blaustein, the co-founder and director of the Millennium Cities Initiative. It's a project at Columbia University, and she's committed to sustainable urban development, and it's designed to assist sub-Saharan capitals in attaining UN Millennium Development Goals. She also has established the new DC corporation, Women's Song International. Women Power, eh? Women Power, please! Women's Song, yeah. And they work from everywhere to Haiti, Ghana, Kenya, India, DC, and they enable women to become agents of change. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what the evening is all about. Let us all be agents of change. I've learned that from Kerry, that individuals matter, they can change. I've learned that from Dr. Nirmal. Individuals matter and they can change. We all should matter. And thank you, Susan, for being another agent of change. I'd like to invite her on stage to moderate, we don't have coffee, but a water, conversation over water, with Dr. Mattoo, Kerry, Kennedy, and Susan Blaustein.
Fabulous food, beaches, inspirations, and all of the work that's gone into making this such a successful and beautiful evening. Imagine all the children all over India who are going to be helped thanks to you all. Thank you for being here. I'm thrilled to be here on this podium with Dr. Mattoo and Kerry Kennedy. Thank you so much for accepting these awards, and you all are real inspirations. And so, because they're such inspirations to all of us, we thought it'd be interesting for you to hear some of what drives them, what keeps them going day after day with the challenges that they face. So, speaking of women strong and in the old 20th century notions of gallantry, if you don't mind, we'll start with Kerry Kennedy. And Kerry, for 30 years, you've been working in the field of human rights, where tangible successes can be few and far between. If you could tell us about one or two successes, please, and also about what keeps you going, given how constantly challenging this arena is.
Thank you. First of all, let me just say that I'm so thrilled to be here. I want to say a huge thanks to Urvashi, who I adore, who I've had the privilege of working with, and to so many extraordinary people who I've known before and also met here tonight. This is such a great group, and it's such a fun gala. I just want to say thank you to all of you for being and participating. Susan and I met in 1990 when I was in the Philippines, and I was doing a TV show for Turner Broadcasting on human rights and the environment. And it was, I've been working in human rights. There have been 3 times when I felt like my life was really in danger, and one of them was on that trip. And anyway, it's so great to see you again, and that I made it through that. Okay, so what keeps me going? And why do I feel optimistic? Well, first, I really feel optimistic because I see extraordinary evidence every single day that people getting out there and creating change actually does create change. So should I give you some examples of that?
Yes.
Okay, so I started working in human rights in 1981. In 1981, all of Latin America was under right-wing military dictatorships. Today, there's not one left standing. And South Africa was at the height of what? South Africa was at the height of apartheid. Today, South Africa has a series of freely elected governments elected by a majority of their people. And that deserves applause. All of Eastern Europe was under communism. Today, there's not a communist ruler left standing in Eastern Europe. And women's rights was not on the international agenda. It wasn't until 1995 when Hillary Clinton went to China and declared women's rights are human rights that became really officially part of the international agenda, which is the most famous thing she ever said. And today, CEDAW, the Women's Rights Convention, has been ratified by 185 countries. Now, and gay rights weren't, nobody was talking about that. And look at the extraordinary changes that have taken place. And if you allow me just to go on just a little bit more. All those changes happened not because governments wanted them to. Governments tried to stop them. And not because great armies wanted them to. Huge militaries tried to stop them. And not because enormous multinational corporations wanted them to. Multinational corporations tried to stop them. They all happened. All the most important things that happened over the last 35 years happened because small groups of determined people got together and said, there's something wrong with our community and we need to fix it. And we're going to come together and we're going to make change. And that's why this exercise we did tonight is so extraordinary, because that's what is happening in that little village, in that market in Ghana. Those are all these women coming together and saying, we're going to make a change. And we're going to figure out what the solutions are. And that's how things change. So that's why I feel very optimistic.
Well, it takes those women, and it takes people like you, and people like Dr. Itameta to give them the tools and the confidence and the power to take the lead and tell everyone what it is that they need. So thank you so much. Dr. Mattoo, you've long been a successful and venerated scientist and medical practitioner. What motivated you to become a philanthropist? And how did you decide what it was that you wanted to do with your philanthropy?
First of all, I would like to congratulate this organization for doing such a wonderful work in places where most people don't even go to do anything. So I feel honored to be here today to be part of this community. The philanthropic activity is very old in India. We come from that tradition. It may not be in the conventional sense of Western philanthropy, but for example, I went to Delhi University to do my undergraduate and medical school. All the colleges, about 70, 80 institutions, were all due to the philanthropic activity of some individual or some religious institution. The hospitals there were built the same way. The schools were built the same way. And the temples, and each temple will have what we call dharamsala, where people will come and try to stay there free of charge. The temples and Sikh temples, the Hindu temples and Muslim mosques will give free food on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. So this is an old tradition that we have there. At a personal level, I know I was blessed with things. My father was chairman in Delhi University, Department of Chemistry. I came from a banking family. They used to give money on loan. And I had all those blessings that a lot of people around me did not have. So I realized that whatever I have had so far hasn't just that it was given to me. There's a combination of nature and nurture in most of the places. You are born some setup, and then if you have an environment which encourages that, also helps you, and that luck I have. So I think a lot of things about me are luck. So at this time, I think this is the time I have to give back. People should give back. Because there are a lot of people that are not blessed the same way, that have lack of education, lack of resources. So to make this world go to the next level, we have to have certain social contracts. And one of those things, I think, is a self-evident truth that you eventually should give back to the society that has given you everything.
Beautiful answer, thank you. It's in the scope of Indian history and religions and culture, your answer. Just as a follow-up, how did you decide to support India historical and cultural studies as a focus of your fund?
You see, it's not a new thing here. America is a little different society than even Europe. But since the 19th century, a lot of the intellectual leaders of both areas, on both sides of the Atlantic, were involved in Indian cultural and Indian worldview. And they accepted that, and that maybe in America, Walt Whitman, or Thoreau, or Schopenhauer, or Gerald Hurd, or Michael Zimmer, there's a huge list of people who were leaders in thinking and bringing this Eastern worldview to the West. And America was leading in that. And I think every society goes to the same experiences. Every civilization goes to the same experiences of bumper crops, famine, rains, good weather, good kings, bad kings, and then they decide what is important to them. And the society develops certain core values, which in India were pluralism, tolerance of religion, independent thinking. Even in our Hindu religious system, the last time I counted, there were close to 2,500 different schools of philosophy, and not exactly same. And so we have certain core values, and we are a young community in this country, and we are going to stay here, and it is growing. So we want to participate in shaping the destiny of this country. We want to bring those core values, be part of the regular American value system, and that's one of the reasons I thought that Indian culture is a beautiful history. It has treasure of art, great writings for thousands of years. The oldest written books of mankind are from India, Vedas, and their philosophical system, not necessarily theistic, non-theistic system, or it can be applicable to any human being of any religion. And so we want to bring those core values into the American mainstream and enrich this society. And so that's likely to start with. So we want to do our part in that. So that's the reason I was more interested in culture and history, not necessarily economics. People have established chairs in every university.
Thank you so much. So you have a beautiful book of history of India, and Kerry, you're the author of all the other, on top of all the other things that have been said about you this evening, of a fabulous book called Speak Truth to Power, Human Rights Defenders Who Are Changing Our World. And preparing this book and writing this book, even if you're some of the most courageous people on the planet. And now your book has been adapted into a human rights curriculum that is already being taught to millions in all of the countries that Urvashi named and many others. Tell us a little bit about the curriculum and about its potential as you see it for effective change.
Well, in the human rights world, we really try and stop governments from abusing people, and then and we're also trying to stop corporations from committing human rights violations. But even when we're successful in doing both of those, which is going to happen, there's still that's not going to do anything unless we get the next generation involved. And so that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to stop bullies from, from the classroom to the presidential palace, and that's what Speak Truth to Power is about. The idea behind it is that if you go into any middle and high school or high school in the United States, and this is true in most of the world, and you will hear, you'll see scrawled someplace in the bathroom, or you'll hear these words, or if you have access to their emails, you'll see that people are using words like retard, or faggot, or bitch, or, all these hate words. And so kids are confronting that kind of hate speech, that kind of other, sometimes 20 or 30 times a day. And each time they hear that, or they're confronted, they have to make a decision. Am I going to go along, or am I going to stand up? And each time they make that decision, it's like they're exercising a muscle. And when you're exercising a muscle 10, 20, 30 times a day, that muscle starts to become stronger. And that becomes your go-to muscle. And so what we're really trying to do is help kids exercise the stand-up muscle so that they can create change. Should I give you an example? Okay, so this is one of the classes, or a series of classes, teaching lessons that we teach to 8th graders. Yeah. So So this is a lesson for 8th graders. So 8th graders are learning how to write. So the first lesson is poetry. So we give students information about children who are in the chocolate production business in West Africa. 70% of the chocolate that is consumed in the United States is made by children in slavery or child labor. So we give them that information. We give them 3 or 4 articles about